Episode number 9. Will not escape him? Replied the stranger, knitting his brow. No, before a woman you would dare not fly, I presume. Remember, said Milady, seeing the stranger lay his hand on his sword, the least delay may ruin everything. You are right, cried the gentleman. Begone then, on your path, and I will depart as quickly on mine. And bowing to the lady, he sprang into his saddle, while a coachman applied his whip vigorously to his horses. The two interlocutors, thus separated, taking opposite directions, at full gallop. Pay him, booby! Cried the stranger to his servant, without checking the speed of his horse, and the man, after throwing 2 or 3 silver pieces at the foot of mine host, galloped after his master. Base coward! False gentleman! Cried D'Artagnan, springing forward, in his turn, after the servant. But his wound had rendered him too weak to support such an exertion. Scarcely had he gone 10 steps when his ears began to tingle, a faintness seized him, a cloud of blood passed over his eyes, and he fell in the middle of the street, crying still, "Coward! Coward! Coward!" "He's a coward, indeed," grumbled the host, drawing near to D'Artagnan, and endeavoring by this little flattery to make up matters with the young man, as the heron of the fable did with the snail he had despised the evening before. "Yes, a base coward," murmured D'Artagnan. "But she was very beautiful." "What she?" demanded the host. "Milady," faltered D'Artagnan, and fainted a second time. "Ah, it's all one," said the host. "I have lost 2 customers, but this one remains, of whom I am pretty certain for some days to come. There will be 11 crowns gained." It is to be remembered that 11 crowns was just the sum that remained in D'Artagnan's purse. The host had reckoned upon 11 days of confinement at a crown a day, but he had reckoned without his guest. On the following morning at 5 o'clock D'Artagnan arose, and descending to the kitchen without help, asked, among other ingredients the list of which has not come down to us, for some oil, some wine, and some rosemary, and with his mother's recipe in his hand composed a balsam, with which he anointed his numerous wounds, replacing his bandages himself, and positively refusing the assistance of any doctor. D'Artagnan walked about that same evening, and was almost cured by the morrow. But when the time came to pay for his rosemary, this oil, and the wine, the only expense the master had incurred, as he had preserved a strict abstinence, while on the contrary, the yellow horse, by the account of the hostler at least, had eaten 3 times as much as a horse of his size could reasonably be supposed to have done. D'Artagnan found nothing in his pocket, but his little old velvet purse with the 11 crowns it contained, for as to the letter addressed to M. de Treville, it had disappeared. The young man commenced his search for the letter with the greatest patience, turning out his pockets of all kinds over and over again, rummaging and re-rummaging in his valise, and opening and reopening his purse. But when he found that he had come to the conviction that the letter was not to be found, he flew, for the 3rd time, into such a rage as was near costing him a fresh consumption of wine, oil, and rosemary, for upon seeing this odd idiot become exasperated, and threatened to destroy everything in the establishment, if his letter were not found. The host seized a spit, his wife a broom handle, and the servants the same sticks they had used the day before.